everyone, and welcome to România Via Cluj. Today we are talking with Garrett, one of the most famous violinists on earth, and also the fastest one according to Guinness World Records. David is going to head off to a new tour this year, and this tour also includes 2 concerts in Romania. About this and about many other interesting stuff, we're going to talk today with Garrett. David, hello. I'm really happy that you can be here with us.
Very excited to be with you.
David, tell me, how are you? How do you feel right now? Are you busy? How do you prepare yourself for the next tour? How excited are you for this next adventure that you're heading to?
First of all, I'm in Austria right now, in Vienna. I'm doing a little promotion for the book I've written, an autobiography about my life. And of course, we are in the midst of preparations for the Alive tour, which is starting with the first concert in Italy in July. But already everything has been prepared. I've rehearsed with the band, and I'll be coming to Romania on the 1st and 3rd of September. And of course, I'm very excited, especially for this tour. First of all, it's a brand new tour with lots of new musical pieces from the album Alive. And second of all, obviously, we have not been performing for over 2 years due to the pandemic. So my band, including me, are ready to be rocking the stage again.
As you named it before, the title of this year's tour is Alive. What is that supposed to mean? What message does it deliver to the public, to the audience?
Well, to be honest, the name Alive actually came to me before the pandemic even started. And of course, I did not change the concept. The concept of the record was a positive vibe, something upbeat, something people can tap their foot to, 2 hours of good energy. And then, of course, during the pandemic, the title in itself became something maybe even more meaningful. So for me, the title Alive is something which I hold very strong to my heart, because it shows that life goes on, that we should stay positive, and now it's time to celebrate again life.
Before Alive, you had a tour named Unlimited Life,
Yes.
which also marked the 10 years of stage for you. Congratulations on that, first of all. What I wanted to ask you is, what are the differences between this tour, Alive, and the previous one that couldn't, unfortunately, reach Romania because of the pandemics?
Well, this is a brand new program. So we've created, I would say, at least 90% of the pieces we have not played before. We created brand new for this tour. So it's basically something I have never played before. We've rehearsed, so people are going to get something brand new. And luckily, we had the time to prepare all this. And there was enough time for every artist out there to really put their mind to new projects and surprise the audience. I think this tour is going to be full of surprises, and hopefully people will have a great time listening to it.
You said that you are very excited coming back on the stage, and I'm sure of that. But I have to ask you, any emotions coming back on the stage after the pandemics, after those 3 years?
I 100% think the first time I am going to walk out on stage and the audience is going to react, I think it's going to be very emotional. It's going to be triggering a lot of fears, a lot of joys. I think it's going to be super special. I'm not thinking or worrying about it too much right now, because that's something you cannot prepare for. But I think everybody in the audience, but also on stage, will really enjoy, performing and interacting with the audience and playing for an audience. I think it's going to be, it will certainly be very emotional.
I'm definitely sure of that. David, for those who don't know you that well, maybe heard your name, but didn't interact that much with your creations, how can you, and especially for those from Romania, how can you describe your violonist style, your music style? What is different from other guys and how you present yourself?
Well, I am classically trained. I play a lot of classical music. I just recorded a classical album. So I take my skills from my very high skills from classical music and adapt them to music which I also love listening. So it can be rock, it can be something from Aerosmith, it can be something from Metallica, from the White Stripes, but it can also be like rhythm and blues, Stevie Wonder, Ray Charles. It can be pop music, like we're doing a nice rendition of Pharrell Williams' Happy. Basically, I would describe myself as kind of the lead singer of a band, but without the voice, but with the violin. I think that's the best explanation I can give.
Definitely, and I think that's the magic of your work. And
it gives me the violin. The violin itself has so many possibilities. You can use the violin as to play riffs like you do in metal or hard rock music, but you can also use the violin as a very lyrical singing voice. So I try to give the full scope of the possibilities of that instrument.
David, just on a short page, can you tell us a bit of your career story? How did you learn to play violin, and how did you reach having those conclusions of, I want to go to that style, I want to do this?
How much time do we have? It's a very long story. I'm going to cut it short.
Definitely on a short page, as short as you want.
I started when I was very young. I was 5 years old when I first started playing the violin. It took about 13, 14 years to really become a very, very good violinist. I went then to New York to study music theory, to study composition at Juilliard School, had wonderful teachers throughout my life, from Menuhin to Itzhak Perlman to Isaac Stern. And then, of course, at some point, I wanted to also include popular music in my repertoire. So I stuck to classical music, but I always did some side vacations with popular music, going from Michael Jackson to Lady Gaga to Coldplay, so Nirvana. Everything I love listening to, I started arranging for symphony orchestra, for a band, and included myself with hopefully a wonderful violin part.
These are definitely some hits that people don't associate that much with violin, and that's what I think makes the beauty of your creation stand out. But we also have to mention that one of the major sources of inspiration that you had in your early career, at least, was the famous musician and composer from Romania, George Enescu.
Yes.
How was that thing going on back then? Was somebody who showed you George Enescu? Did you like him in the first place? How was it?
I had two teachers, violin teachers, Ida Hendel as well as Yuri Menuhin. Both of them studied with George Enescu personally. They were students of George Enescu. And they always referred to George Enescu as one of the most iconic violinists of the 20th century. And of course, I started getting into his compositions, listening to some of his recordings. There are not that many, but there are a few recordings from George Enescu. And when we are talking about coloratura, when we're talking about colors, about phrasing, about glissandi, everything which makes the personality, the sound of a violinist. He's one of the all-time greats, so I'm a huge fan of George Enescu.
And how is it playing right now in front of the crowd from George Enescu's country?
It's a big honor. I think being on stage, you need to be humble. You need to be prepared to the fullest. You need to know, obviously, what you're doing, what reaction you want to create. So there's a lot of preparation going into it. There's a lot of practice going into it. And of course, a lot of knowledge which I acquired throughout my career.
David, one more question regarding to your story. You play on a Stradivarius violin that was made in 1716, if I'm right.
Yeah.
How did you get it? I'm really curious about that.
I went to Switzerland many years ago, and I got the information through my father that somebody wanted to come visit me after the concert and was thinking about selling a beautiful Stradivari. So I ended up meeting that person a day later at my hotel room, and they brought the violin with them, and I started playing on it a little bit. And it was kind of love at first sound. And I luckily was able to buy that violin for of course a high price, but a reasonable price still. And ever since, it's been my companion, musically speaking.
It appears in each one of the videos that we can find on your YouTube channel.
Many
you
of them.
Constantly upload new creations, new work. That is very interesting. As I mentioned in the beginning, you are also the fastest violinist on earth, according to Guinness World Records. Can the crowd feel that energy that they are in front of the fastest violinist on earth? Can they feel that technique?
I think it's not important to be having that title. It's not that important, but I think it's very important to play violin with ease, to not have any technical difficulties. Nathan Milstein, a wonderful classical violinist, once said, you can either play the violin or you cannot play the violin. In order to play everything with ease, you have to have a great technique, because you don't want people in the audience worrying. Hopefully he can finish the piece. You want people to sit in the audience, and it needs to look, even if it's very difficult, it needs to feel and look like it's the easiest piece in the world. And that is true artistry.
Wonderful thoughts from you. 1st of September, Cluj-Napoca, 3rd of September, Bucharest, the capital of Romania. Any message for the fans that are waiting for you here?
I've been waiting for them for 2.5 years, so I'm looking forward to seeing you all.
Wonderful. Any other plans for the future, David, after this tour, maybe?
Actually, this tour is quite long. We're starting in Italy. We're going to South America. We're going to Eastern Europe. We're going to Scandinavia. So basically, this is going to be a long tour. And I think by the end of the year, I might need a little vacation. And of course, the next project, big tour, is I'm releasing a classical album with Deutsche Grammophon. And so the next tour will be a classical tour again.
I'm sure that is going to be a very nice tour, and you're going to have a lot of new experience and a lot of wonderful moments. People are also going to enjoy it. David, it's been a pleasure talking to you today, and I wish you good luck. I wish you wonderful crowds, wonderful energy at your concerts, and I'm forward looking to see what you got for us. Thank you very much, David.
Thank you very much for your time.
And to you, dear friends, thank you that you've been here today with us. See you online.